excited. Of course, we're going to catch up on all things Cubs, but also interact with listeners, including with a little bit of a twist and a whole lot more. It's the Locked On Cubs holiday party, and it starts right now.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into a live edition of Locked On Cubs. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Thanks for making Locked On Cubs your first listen every day. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. It is 7:01 p.m. Central Standard Time here on a Monday, and we're very pleased to be with you for a holiday party event. We're going to have this be our regular episode for Tuesday, but if you're viewing it live, obviously, you have that experience of going live. And if this is your first time here, if you're listening after the fact, please subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already to stay up with us when we do these live events, or if any news breaks, we go live for that as well. We had some of that news over the weekend with Dansby Swanson signing with the Cubs as the Cubs finally locked in a shortstop. And we're going to talk a little more about any updates on the free agent market and otherwise. Sam, welcome to the holiday party. Want to wish you a happy Hanukkah and excited to be with you.
Yeah, let me just answer all these questions now. I don't own an ugly Christmas sweater.
Right.
You know, I know there's going to be a lot of that. I didn't even know that this was happening until about, 25 minutes ago. No, that's not true.
The party or the sweater?
Everything.
Okay.
No, I feel good, Matthew. A lot of things we can talk about before we have our wonderful guests on. I think the big thing that I'd like to discuss briefly, and first of all, let me just stop myself here and just show a quick comment here.
Okay.
Thank you, Jorge, for that. You, my friend, get an extra point. Anyways, I think the what's next stuff, Matt, Conforto, possibly Drury, Mancini. I'm interested to hear what you have to think about that. Maybe order those guys for me in terms of guys you want. And then obviously, we have a lot to do tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we just introduced the show here in the first few minutes, we'll put some chats on the screen just as we get going here. So, I was looking at our lineup, from last night that we put on the screen, and how that looked like, and I could put it up on the screen again. But I think that a Michael Conforto addition, which reports have the Cubs being, I think you would call them a finalist, because I've seen many outlets now group the Cubs, the Marlins, and the Rangers in. And it seems like there's momentum to him signing before the holiday. And so him signing prior to Friday or Saturday would definitely inject even more excitement into the fan base. If you're talking just purely from an offensive standpoint, adding the best available, I would say that he is that person. I would give him the edge over Drury, despite Drury's versatility defensively. I would give him the edge over Mancini. And it's really those three that are the best available. And I think I would rank Conforto first there. I did have a FaceTime with my good friend Kevin, former New York Met, who knows Conforto well. And he described him as a pure hitter, easily could be an all-star again, somebody that has a year off that's hungry. And quite frankly, if you look at this lineup, I would personally slot him in third. And then you don't knock everybody down, but you kind of do some reorganization. So I'm excited that they're at least in on him. And I think he could do big things if he joins the club here.
Yeah, I think all that's fair. I would just say First of all, I always think it's funny when we do a show and we're breaking down these guys and we use the term, and I'm not criticizing you for it because you used the correct term, but it's like yesterday with Barnhart as a wish lister, guy hits 220, and now we're finalists for Conforto, like we're about to acquire Ted Williams here.
He's good though.
He hasn't played a year. He started out his career with a bang. The last couple of years weren't great. I think he's intriguing. I think like he said, I think he raises the ceiling of what the offense can be. I think you give him around the same sort of contract you gave Bellinger. And literally, as I said that, somebody, Joe, I agree with that. But I'm going to slant. I think Drury makes more sense because of his positional flexibility, because outfield wise with Happ, Suzuki, and Bellinger, those three, I mean, that's going to be your starting outfield. You're short a DH, of course, but what you don't have is a third baseman that you feel great about, and you don't have a platoon option with Mervis at first base that you feel great about. And Mr. Drury would solve both those questions, Matt. And can you? I'm putting you on the spot. Can you put the lineup graphic up there one more time, or is that too troubling?
Yeah, I got it right here. I got a new mouse today.
And you look at this. So the key to the Conforto pickup team wise would be, does Ian Happ repeat himself as a really solid hitter from the right side? Because Bellinger doesn't hit left-handed pitching. I think it's kind of safe to assume Mervis will struggle versus left-handed pitching early on in his career. And then you bring on somebody like Conforto. I just get a little bit concerned that maybe, you don't have that platoon, those splits. But I think it's picking at straws. I agree with you. And I think we both could agree that either of those two guys would be ahead of Mancini. But yeah, Conforto's a guy that can hit 30-plus home runs. The Cubs don't really have many of those guys. By many of those guys, I mean like one or two.
And I do think the price points for these players are pretty different. I think Mancini would be the lower cost one. I think Mancini and Conforto would be more of 1-year deals, where I could see Drury being a 2 or 3-year deal. And I could see Conforto being the most expensive. So if the Cubs want to, not saying they're breaking the bank on any of these guys, but I do think that the price for Conforto would be a little bit higher. And then if you sign him, that probably means that's it. Because then you get the catcher, that's some money, one more reliever, and then that's probably it. Whereas maybe Mancini, you could add another additional complimentary piece of somebody that has a resume in the big leagues. But that wouldn't really be a headliner. So if you want a headliner, I think it's Conforto and Drury, fits the bill. And I really see that lineup, and I do like Chris Morel. I do. But I think we've determined he's not an everyday guy, at least heading into the year. Let's see what he could do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I don't think any of these guys make any headlines, but I think Conforto or Drury would really help the ceiling of the offense. I think the last thing I just want to say, this comment here by Dustin is what we'll be talking about extensively once the offseason quiets down, because that's going to be the entire key to the lineup. Suzuki, that's going to be the key. He has to hit 30-plus home runs for this whole thing to work. I've said that multiple times, and I believe that he will. But why don't we transition here, Matthew?
Awesome. Yeah, well, we have an exciting show for you today on this holiday special, or holiday party, as we're calling it. And we're going to reveal what that is coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every pro and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer and esports. They've got it all at betonline.net. They're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. Okay, well, where we start the rest of the show is, I don't know how else to put this, quite a big departure of what we do on a regular basis. So every day we have a show that's 3 segments. We talk Cubs. And today's live program is going to be complete interaction with the listener. And you could already see we've thrown up some chats and things like that. But first, we're actually going to have people live in the human flesh on the screen with us, Sam. As listeners have been extended some invites, and we're going to have a few of them join us live here on the air and really just thank them for their listenership and viewership and kind of test the waters with bringing on guests. So hence the new graphic here for the viewers at home. And we're going to see how this goes. I know you're excited, Sam.
Yeah, no, this is a really nice job by you.
Thank you. All right. Well, first up is some listeners from the southern part of the country.
Roll Tide, baby.
We first heard from them over the summer, within about a month of us even starting on the 5th of July is when we started. We heard from them a short time after that, including a photo of their family watching us, and that was really cool. And that was the Walkers from Trussville, Alabama, and now we're going to put them on the screen. Lance and Carson, how's it going?
Good.
Doing great. How about you guys?
Yeah, doing really well. Thanks for being with us.
You know, I really can't complain, and that's rare.
And Carson, I will say, has some Olber style there with the backwards hat.
No, Carson looks great.
Just for you, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Carson, we screened everybody before we got live on the air. And Sam, Carson's actually going to do something for us that you're going to get a big kick out of if he's comfortable enough for the people at home. Take it away.
Okay. Welcome into Locked On Cubs alongside Sam Over. I'm Matt Cozy. Pleased to be with you for a Monday episode. We're lifelong taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs.
Wow. What a natural.
Yeah, he's really good. He's going to sub for you next week when you move.
No, seriously though, Carson, and there's a lot of ways you could take this, and if you take it as an insult, I don't blame you. You remind me a lot of me at 10. You really do. What's funny is a 10-year-old diehard Cub fan as myself was Steve Bartman, Game 6. I was 10, 03.
Oh my gosh.
Because people always say to me, "Oh, Sam, you don't remember." Well, Carson's a great example. You can be 10 years old or 11 or whatever it is. You could be super young and be super locked in. It is. It's how it is. If you're raised that way, that's how you are. You weren't like that, Matt. When you were 10, you were, playing with toys and doing all that goofy stuff.
Yeah. I was reading the newspaper or something.
Yeah, right.
Oh, here's a comment right here. Look at that. The reviews are already in that early.
No, that was like really smooth, Carson.
It was really solid. So what's the story of how you all got to be Cubs fans?
Yeah, so when I was young in elementary school, my grandparents would pick me up from school every day, and my granddad was really old time, but we would go home, and the first thing he would do, turn on Den, and I'd sit there and watch the Cubs game with him. So, my wife, I'm very fortunate. I married a Cubby as well, but my wife grew up as a Cubs fan. So, we passed that along to the boys. They're in 8th grade and 4th grade now, and we got the MLB package. We listen on XM. I mean, we either listen or watch, part of pretty much every game. So they're locked in Wrigley for the first time during the 16 season. So that was a great memory. Maybe it's our fault that we haven't won since then, since we haven't taken them back. So maybe we should blame on that. But,
Go ahead.
No, we so this summer, and I take Carson to school today. So on our 15 or 20 minute drive, this is our morning every day. So he really looks forward to it and, loves keeping up with you guys. So we appreciate the great job that y'all do.
Just remember, if you do want to go to a game this year, to bring about, $35,000. Anyways,
They lowered prices.
Yeah. No, right. Sure. No, that's really cool. I'm curious, what's the baseball scene like in Alabama? Like, is it obviously, is it a free for all? Is it majority Braves? Trying to think.
Oh, you walk around, you got people tomahawk chopping at you all day in Alabama. It is serious. It's serious Braves country. So it's been pretty rough go the last couple of years.
Yeah, right.
Here's Darren, Sam, with a one-liner.
Yeah, no, Darren knows how to comment.
He's good. All right, well, Walkers. I know I'm a soft-hearted person, but I have to tell you that was really cool. I really appreciate it.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was really nice of you all. And it's been enjoyable exchanging some messages. And the other really cool thing is that they actually sent us a gift.
Crazy. That's awesome.
And so I think we're ready to open it on the air. If I could just have your approval again, Lance, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It
let's
matches
see what
your
we have.
sweater, Matthew. The wrapping paper.
I was going to get you a shortstop, but you already have one.
Yeah, from
nice.
Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. So first of all, there's multiple items, which is very flattering. So the first item is a Cubs knit hat.
That's amazing.
Okay,
that's an everyday wear situation until probably late May.
And I see a note in here. I'm
just going to filibuster real quick and just remind everybody we will be hitting single digits in the next couple of days and 8 to 12 inches of snow on Thursday.
So Lance, is this your school?
Yeah, so that's our school here in Alabama. So we thought we would send some Cubs merch and also a little piece of our school in Alabama as well.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, Hewitt baseball. That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
We'll be repping that.
Holy cow.
That is awesome.
Oh man. All right.
They always say people are way nicer in the South. It's true.
Yes.
True.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Walkers. Seriously, it means so much to us, and we love doing this show every day. And even hearing a little bit of feedback, much less what you all are doing, is really cool. So thank you again.
Yeah, especially Carson, man. It's I get a chance at my day job to work with kids often, and I'm a softie, and keep doing you, man. Listen to the show every day, watch the games, hang out with your dad. You have a brother, right?
Yes.
Yeah, hang out with your brother and your mom. Get into as much sports as you can because it's the best thing in the world, and it keeps you away from stuff. It keeps you away from trouble.
And one more thing, in the spirit of this show, Craig is taking a dig at our background. Thank you so much.
Hey, I moved Tuesday. I'm an upgrade. I moved Tuesday.
Yes, and at some point tonight, I might have something for you, Sam, for your background. All right, Walkers. Well, enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank
if you
guys.
wanted to, you don't have to stick around. Or actually, we're going to try to have everybody on at one time. So if you could get up and do whatever, but I'm going to put you in the waiting room, and maybe we'll see you a little bit later.
Thank you.
Sounds good. We appreciate you guys having us on.
No,
all right. Thank you. Whew. Anybody have any tissues?
I thought I cried enough yesterday when we won the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I am now just becoming a crier.
Yeah. All right. Let's gather ourselves here. And
somebody,
yes.
By the way, just real quick, somebody made a joke about our background the other day and messaged me and said it looks like we do the show from prison.
That's not nice.
I
All
just
right.
thought that was really funny.
Coming up next, which is right now, because we're not taking any
man.
other breaks here, is the linchpin of this show. Happy to call him my cousin, but he's a good friend of mine as well. And he's one of Sam's best friends, and that's
Not
Nick
one of.
Cozy. Nick?
Not one of.
The
Yes. Nick Cozy is live on the air, and the reason he's the linchpin of this show is because he'll get into it a little more, but Sam and Nick have known each other since they were in elementary school, and I started hanging around in their circle a few years ago, 17 or 18, and my relationship with Sam stems from that. So, Nick, without you, there would be no show, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, realistically, I take full credit for the show. Thank you.
Yeah, you could. I think so. I think that's pretty fair. And what are you wearing tonight?
Yeah.
Well, once I found out it was a holiday party, a little snowman.
Indeed, it is a holiday party, and
not wearing any gear.
Sam, how do we want to?
Well, I'd like to speak on Nick for a second, if I can.
Thank you.
Please.
And here's what I'll say. I had a kind of like a little bit of a lot of compliments planned, and it's going to be really hard now with the ears. But it is what it is. Nick knows I hate themes. So Nick is my best friend. He's Matt's cousin. The way this worked out was, I've been friends with Nick for over 20 years. And he obviously pulled us together, but Nick is in the same category as Matt and myself in terms of the Cubs. He roots a little bit too much for the Bears, but that's not for this show. But he is the best. He is, again, I'm not going to, it's becoming too much of a soft show, but I think Matt and I can agree that he is probably the best guy that any of us know. So welcome him, join him, and let's talk about anything but a shortstop, please.
Yeah, Nick. No, seriously. Thanks for all your support over the years, both with this show and otherwise. And
no show.
What is your? I am curious. I actually don't know this genuinely. What is your, aside from the World Series, some of your favorite Cubs memories?
Well, not to use the World Series specifically, but 2016, which is the year they won, theoretically connected 3 generations of Cub fans in the Cozy family, right? Me being the youngest generation along with you.
Right.
My dad and your dad, 55 to 60, plus years of being a Cub fan. But then our grandfather, rest in peace to his soul, Frank Cozy, who passed away December of 2016, right? So just a few short weeks after the Cubs did what looked like to be the impossible and win the World Series. So that year is always going to have a special place in the Cozy family memory bank, because our grandpa, who waited 94 years to see a championship, was able to have that wish granted prior to his passing. So I thought that was really special, how it connected, the 3 generations that we have, and that's always going to have a special place in the heart. Otherwise, the same like you two, it's been from birth being a Cub fan. But to be honest, I think what I get the most enjoyment from, as opposed to, looking back on specific memories, is what we put in to this team when they're bad. Right? It's easy to be a fan when they're good, right? But the lengths that we went to when they sucked, right? So we always get the hype at the beginning of the year, regardless of what the projections are. They could be projected to win 75 games or 65 games, right? But come April, we bundle up head to toe, We go to Wrigley. We sit there. We watch the game thinking that maybe they will be great. But by the third inning, it's 8-0. Right? Or, there's in the summers, 70-win team. Me and Sam are just melting in the bleachers on a July 98-degree day. Or, college years. A lot of people, Saturday morning, early September would be, partying, getting ready for a tailgate for a football game. Sam and I are 450 miles away from each other, alone in our dorm room, ready for first pitch, 11:30 out of Pittsburgh.
Facebook messaging every pitch. I just want to. I know we got to go quick, Matt. So
it's all right.
I want to just share a couple quick tidbits with Nick and I.
Yeah, no, please.
First of all, to the Evil Wax complimenting Nick's background.
I know.
That's his lovely girlfriend, Victoria. She's responsible for that, not him. Secondly, a couple quick tidbits with Nick and I. So my dad, a couple of times when we were younger, like in grade school, would call us out of school to take us to a May game. Did a lot of that. And then one story, I just think the listener, this isn't as much to do with Nick, but Nick was there, that I think was really funny that I haven't told on the show. I'll keep it super brief. Was this past June, we were at the Cubs game for Nick's girlfriend's birthday. It was the game against the Cardinals. They were playing, it was Killian's debut. And these two girls came and sat in front of me, and I was talking to them, and we were having we were just chatting, and about halfway through the game, or maybe a little bit less, they were like, yeah, what are you doing after this? Let's meet up or whatever. I was like, yeah, well, I'll let you know what we're doing. And the rest of the game, Nick and I were so locked in on the game and screaming and, every pitch, hey, that's 6 inches out, Blue, you got to give us that one. Or Morel hits a base hit down the third base line to tie it. And meanwhile, these girls get up in the 8th inning. I'm like, hey, are you guys leaving? Are we still going to hang out after? And the girls look straight at me. They go, you're a total geek, man.
Yikes.
That's just the level. I mean, it's just very, very intense, man. Just very intense.
Absolutely. Nick, thank you so much. I think at the end, we're going to try to put everybody on the screen as kind of the Locked On Cubs Avengers, if you will. So please stick around if you can. And we'll get ahead here. Thank you so much.
Love you, Nick.
Love you too.
All right. Love you. Bye. All right. Very good. We're going to keep rolling here. Let me just get to Travis.
Yeah, while you get to Travis, let me pick something from the chat.
Well, I want to just show his comment real quick.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
One of my great friends in life, Travis. Did I miss the magic? I did a test run before the show. It's just not going to work. Just with the text on the screen. Sorry. I would love to do a magic trick, but unfortunately not going to be able to. All right.
Wait a second.
Yes.
Tom Glavin's on.
Oh my gosh, a famous listener of ours.
Congrats on getting north of 300 wins, Tom.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to stick for the show. I do want to acknowledge I see Michael in the waiting room. And so I'll add you to the bottom of the lineup, and thank you so much for being here. But up right now should be Adam in Ohio if he's there. And there he is right there. And now he's on Locked On Cubs. Adam, how's it going?
Doing well here in Ohio, guys.
Good. And thanks for your support and all your comments the last few months. And how does a Cubs fan end up where you are in the Midwest?
Well, I'm originally from the northeast area of Indiana. My father was a college baseball coach up there in Fort Wayne. And just like the Alabama folk, I was always watching WGN with him. So it was a blast growing up watching the Cubs. So close, too.
A lot of basketball. Played a lot of basketball in Fort Wayne, Indiana at Spiece.
Yep, Spiece. I played there myself.
Wow. Yeah.
So Adam, I think he's wanting some baseball. So we would love to do that with you here.
That's what they tell us to do.
If you want to drive your own show here.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm the guy with the hypotheticals.
Yes.
I like the ideas of trading. I'm not necessarily trying to trade away Horner or the Haps, you know?
Right.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, who'd want to do that? I mean, but you can send Nick Madrigal anytime you want, anytime.
That might happen.
Yeah, pretty cool with that. But obviously, we're in the market for maybe replacing Wilson Contreras.
Sure.
Sam, what do you think about MJ Melendez? He's a young catcher out of the
Kansas
Royals.
City. Yeah. I would be lying to tell you. So I'm familiar with him. I watched him hit against the Sox. I know he can hit a little bit. I would be lying if I said I knew much more than that. I don't know how he grades out defensively. Are there links to him, or is he tradable, or
just a young guy with a small market team that always likes to rebuild, kind of like Oakland, you know? And maybe more hopeful than anything, but
sure. Let's pull up what we got here, because I know all these guys mainly from fantasy.
Yeah, and I'm a baseball player on like video games, and so that's how I kind of learned about him.
Yeah, so he's got a little bit of pop. His batting average, he had 18 homers, 129 games. The question for me would be, obviously the price, and then how he grades out defensively. Offensively, I mean, we're sitting here on this program wishing for Tucker Barnhart, so it's a pretty low bar offensively. I think they're really going to focus. And I know he hits lefty. Is he switch, or is it just lefty? Just lefty.
Pure left.
Yeah, so I think he would be, a pretty intriguing guy if he could, if he grades out there defensively. I don't, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know that answer. And then what would you give up? Because it seems like you could get a pretty like a Madrigal for him swap would be great, right? That'd be intriguing.
Yeah, that's probably what happened,
right?
I would love that
because he's valued more than that. You're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I know I've been the guy that brought up.
How old is he?
Go.
20. Oh, he's young. He's 20. Yeah, 24.
I was the guy that made the comment that maybe moving Brennan Davis out would be something that might be worth our future potential. Sure. If you partner Madrigal with him, 2 on the 40-man roster guys, 2. I mean, I was hoping we got Sean Murphy with those 2 actually, but there's some injury issues on both of them, and their dexterity in that. So, I mean, I personally would take that deal. We got Archer. Yeah, I got the ability to hold on to them for a few years.
Arbitration.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think I don't know enough about Melendez to be willing to part ways with Davis. I think for where the Cubs are at right now, I think if this was a year from now, I'd say I'd be more for that. But I would say, for the Cubs to part ways with one of Davis, Canario, I think PCA, we can label him untouchable right now.
Untouchable.
Davis, Canario, or Alcantara, I think it would have to be something that takes their win total and really were to move the needle. So I off the top of my head, some sort of trade, like if they were to trade Alcantara and Davis, and the answer would be Rafael Devers. Now, I'm not saying, don't freak out at me in the chat. I'm just saying,
good job, Sam.
I'm just saying something that would move the needle, where it's like, oh, we got to take these guys super seriously. Whereas I feel like Melendez would just be kind of a marginal increase. But again, I don't know enough about him. I'm just picking at straws. You probably know more about him than I do.
All right,
I just see potential.
I want to put up for Adam this from John. Madrigal for Grandal.
Yeah. And
what are the thoughts about that?
I'm not really into old catchers. I mean, I'm not expecting speed out of my young catchers. I'm just expecting the ability to find a guy to hold on to. I mean, I was heartbroken to see Wilson leave, but I understand it. And it is what it is, and we have to rebuild. But, I mean, Amaya's been hurt. I can't trust he's going to be able to stay healthy to begin the year, let alone be able to offer a nice complimentary to Jan. So it's is it worth giving up a little bit? I mean, we do have some guys in low A and whatnot that are going to be worthy in a couple of years in catchers. Balestianos, I think his last name is. We have some prospects options there. Yeah, thank you. So we could hold off for 2 or 3 years and then see what those young guys are going to do. But now's the time that you could really build with these core, Steele, Wisniewski, Killian, and build that connection now.
Yeah, I think The Contreras thing, I always said I was fine with it, assuming they replaced him. And the fact that they struck out on Christian Vasquez, which I think is probably the darkest mark of the offseason.
Yeah.
Didn't trade for Murphy. Doesn't look like they're going to trade for Jansen, and missed out on Navarez to now where we're talking about a platoon of Barnhart and Gomes. I think it makes me miss Wilson Contreras, and I've been pretty heavily criticized on the show for saying that he can leave, but you can't leave without replacing somebody. So, Gomes will help defensively. It'd be nice if they could get another guy that could just get a hit, and then also help defensively.
Agreed.
All right, Adam. Thank you so much for the support these first few months, and let's keep it cooking.
I appreciate you guys all the time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Next up is going to be Brandon in Peoria, who sent us a nice message in October. I was really happy to get that. It was actually the weekend we went to Iowa, Illinois, Sam. And he was one of the first ones ever to send us a chat in a Google Voice. And now he's on the air. Brandon, how's it going in Peoria?
It's going all right. Could be a little bit more warm, but what can you get in the Midwest?
Yeah, exactly. And please share with the audience here your Jersey situation.
So I travel 2.5 hours away for college. I go in Edwardsville. So I left
SIU
my
Edwardsville?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so I left my Hendricks jersey at college. So I'm stuck with Mark Pryor, which doesn't seem to be too stuck, but he's a little before my time.
What was the first Cubs season that you remember?
So vividly remember, I'm 18. I would say is 14, but I remember having a jersey of Giovanni Soto that I wouldn't wear out, but after every shower every night, I'd throw that thing on. If there's a Cubs game on, I'd be watching it.
Yeah.
But 14's really when my dad was like, "Hey, stuff's getting serious," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in."
Yeah, that's cool. And it was just before it again.
Yeah, so I really got to see those guys' first years.
You're spoiled.
Really nice. I am very spoiled. I know I am.
I'm not insulting you.
No.
Yeah,
I wrote down in my notes to ask you guys what it was like growing up, because I hear from my father who's 40.
Oh,
right.
And then me, I got bullied by Cardinals fans in 4th grade. But once I really started hitting middle school was,
let me tell you what it is, Brandon. The guy that was on earlier, Nick, and our years in high school between 2010 and 2012, and then early college, so 13, 14. Every game, I remember David DeJesus, Ryan Sweeney, Ryan Kalish, these guys losing 100+ games, and we would fade out, Brandon, September. Once the Bears started, we would move on from the Cubs, but the summers were all Cubs. God bless him that he found a really good girlfriend. I didn't get that lucky, and that's probably why I missed out on all the you said you're 18. Are you a freshman in college?
Yeah.
Yeah. In those experiences are important. You learn how to talk to people. I was sitting behind my screen, upset because Starlin Castro hit into a double play, and we're 40 and 70.
Whoops.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough times.
Oh, yeah. So we replace Starlin Castro with Addison Russell. I go out and get a dog, name her Addie, and then I have to sit through 2018 just.
Is the dog still named Addie?
Yeah, you're not going to change.
Yeah, no, right.
Yeah. It's Addison Street,
It's a good dog. It's a good dog name, actually.
No, it is a good dog name. Listen, Addison Russell, for all his faults, drove in over 100 runs on a team that won a world championship and hit a grand slam in the World Series. Guy did enough for me,
Yeah.
So what's your major at this point?
Secondary ed. I want to be a history teacher.
Oh, awesome. All right.
Oh, you're on the right show. He's
good.
a great teacher, and I love history.
Yeah,
Sweet.
that's true. Brandon, thank you for that message. And your dad still listen?
Yeah, I think he's listening right now, which makes me kind of anxious, but it's all right.
Hey,
Oh,
Brandon,
awesome.
can I say one quick note, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of history, did you know Ronald Reagan had some Cubs radio? He was affiliated with the Cubs. Did you know that?
No, I mean it makes sense because he went to college in Eureka. But
Yeah. If you're bored tonight, give that a YouTube or a search. And when he was president, he had a phenomenal cameo. He threw out the first pitch and he announced an entire inning with Harry Carey. I think it was like early 90s. No, I'm being a moron. Had to be 80s, whatever
It was early 80s.
Yeah, early 80s. When he was president, he was in the booth. And I think they were playing the Pirates or the Brewers. It's pretty funny.
it's cool.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Brandon, good. Oh, sorry.
We remember Felix PA.
Oh, yeah. I do.
Yeah, we remember Corey Patterson. He was the answer to our trivia question a couple days ago.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Terrio.
Good blast from the past. Brandon, good luck with your studies. Have a good winter break. And thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, man.
All right. Thank you. All right, Darren.
I had a
with another
penguin. I
one-liner.
named it Ron.
Unreal.
Man, Darren,
All
you
right.
should do some stand-up, man.
One of our most prominent here, sorry. Do you want to just kick that off the screen so we can extend here?
Sorry.
All right. One of our most prominent commenters on the YouTube platform goes by the name of Big Ran, and he's on What's Now. Big Ran, we're so excited to see you in person.
So awesome, man. Merry Christmas, Matt. Happy Hanukkah. Sam, I love your guys' show, and you guys, man, you knocked it out of the park with leading off. That brought back such great memories. Been a Cub fan since night, and I can still remember how they broke my heart in '69, and I just went back to very first game that I ever saw in Wrigley against Bob Gibson with the Cardinals. Cubs win 3-1. Game only hours, and both guys pitched a complete game. You know, it's just totally wow. You know, but
wow.
I think Big Ran and I get along so well, Matt, because we're both. My dad is such a Cubs historian. Big Ran, you'll get a kick out of this. When I was younger, like between the ages like 4 and 7, 8. When I would go to sleep at night, he'd tuck me in and tell me the story of the '69 Cubs.
Yes.
The Billy Williams, the Sano, the Banks, the Black Cat, the Sano hit the guy that dropped the ball or whatever it was, and so the
young drop
field. Yeah, right. So I think that's why you and I have pretty good chemistry on the YouTube front, because Cubs history, it's the Cubs gained a lot of fans after 16, but there's also a lot of people like yourself, myself. I'm younger, but my dad as well, that really lived through every single thing. 69, 84, 03, whatever it is. And I'm sure that makes it even sweeter for you. So.
Oh, it does. And you blow the stuff that you can remember. It's like, gee, man, I just like, how in the world can he remember all that? It's
not a lot of friends. Not a lot of friends.
Detailed, though, and then to hear Matt in the background just cracking up, it excites me. It excites me that there's youth that love the Cubs, and to see guys like Carson, man, that was so exciting. So exciting.
That's awesome.
Exciting,
That was.
What would you say for like our listeners outside of the Gibson thing, if you had to say between the years that you started watching up until this modern, Rizzo era, would you say would be like your your biggest heartbreak and your biggest, excitement pre World Series, I guess would be the way to ask it.
Wow. Biggest excitement was seeing that game that I mentioned. That by far. Biggest heartbreak, 84 and 69. You hit it right on the thing, man. It just, especially with Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor, if those guys could have, the career they could have had if they would have just stayed healthy, man.
Yeah.
We would have had a pitching reel for years, but, things happen, It's like, Chicago Cubs curse once again, it's like, but man, I'm glad that's gone. 2016.
All right, we're gonna get big. We're gonna get Big Ran out on this comment from Elliot. Big Ran. Let's see here. Some Cubs history. You get to bring one pitcher back in their prime: Fergie, Maddox, or Lester.
Ooh, that's a great one.
I'd have to go Fergie in my because of the innings that he would pitch. I mean, this guy wouldn't come out of the game. It'd be, for him to pitch 300 innings, and every fourth day he was out. Hey, let me run Matt and Sam.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen right, maybe halfway through the season before the trade deadline, the Angels, Ohtani, I really think they will, but I don't think it's going to be in their send Morel, a prospect, pay half of his salary, Anthony Rendon off their hands.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in
so
in a year? It would cost you like 17, but if you were offered to pay dollars a year for him, would you take him at third base?
Yeah, Matt,
Anthony Rendon from the Angels. Would you take him in a trade and try to take a chance on him
with Ohtani, right?
No. They're gonna try to keep Ohtani.
Okay. Yeah, I would take a chance on Rendon.
That would free them up to sign Ohtani.
Right. So you're saying just take on Rendon's price and give him a
take on that set, and then if you had to throw in Morel and you had to throw in
I would do that.
A real prospect. I would do that in a heartbeat if I.
If you take on his money, you don't have to send much back. Maybe a player or two. So I think it might be worth it.
Yeah, I think it would depend on where they're at in the season. Like if they're 2-3 games out of St. Louis and they just have a massive hole at third base, then you pull the trigger on that.
Big Rand, thank you so much for listening, and we'll bring you back on the screen here at the end.
Sounds good. Love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Big Rand. All right, last in the lineup, but not least, is we'll call him a player from Dallas, and this is Michael in the Lone Star State. Michael, welcome to the holiday party.
Like you like to say, I'm pleased to be with y'all. Sam, I do want to lead off and say, Cup. I know that has to be a pretty big victory, and since those are far days, I'm glad that you could at least share some sense of victory with that, man.
Hey, I really appreciate it. So many people congratulated me. It feels like our own little Cubs family. No, man, that was, I won't get too far into it because you and I are the only ones that care. But it was it was a day I will never forget.
So, Michael, you have the 630 area code. So let's before we put everybody on the screen again. Where are you originally from, and a little bit about your journey with the Cubs?
So I was born in Highland Park and went to high school in Downers Grove. I went to college, and now I live in Dallas just to pursue a career out here in Chicago. They're tuning in right now. My brother is off of Sheridan. My best friend from Bolingbrook, and my mother's listening in Florida. leading into how I became a fan of the Cubs, I essentially was like anybody else. I enjoy being invited to Thanksgiving and Christmas. My family had I given up on them. So even dating back before I was born, high chair in front of WGN. Gosh, those were great days when Marquee Network was a fourth product. And so, I just grew up watching WGN, really got into Sosa and the home run race of him and Mark McGwire. Great documentary. Sure. That hasn't seen it, certainly would recommend checking it out. But that's how I really got in, between my brother, my best friend, just being diehard fans. I'm sure that everybody listening in would agree that there's no authentic Wrigley, comparatively speaking, to any other sporting event.
Yeah.
And even living hundreds to thousands of miles away, I will continue to hold very fond in my heart.
You know, Matt, sorry. This is our third guest now that has brought up how important WGN was in their baptism to being a Cub fan. And I know people get upset at me when I mention Marquee, but it just reminds me so much of how brutal the telecast, how far it's fallen, I guess is what I'll say.
Yeah, that is just an indicator of fandom and just the historical sense over the years. Well, Michael, thanks for all the messages and your support and spreading the word as well. And if we ever have a Locked On Cubs tour, I have to think Texas be in the lineup because from a few people now from there. So thanks again. I'm going to leave you on the screen, and then I'm going to put everybody up. And hopefully somebody can get a screenshot of this and send it to us. It's going to be very brief because otherwise my computer is going to break. But everyone's going to be on the screen right there. Again, thank you so much for everybody to be on. This is the Locked On Cubs Avengers right here, I think. And actually, just humor me here. I'm gonna just do a screenshot of my own,
and we'll do this again at some point.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks everybody so much, and we have about 7 minutes left here on the show. And but thanks for joining us live.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
Go Cubs. Next year's this year.
Very good.
Matthew, are we going to wrap the show together?
Yes. Let me just reorganize here. And again, I said my screen might break, so.
Well, I could filibuster for a bit. I saw some comments about Rendon. Look, I didn't, it was a question that I got. I didn't know, I didn't really think about it into that detail. Yeah, maybe with his salary, maybe the Cubs wouldn't even have to give up a prospect. Maybe it would be like a Hosmer type situation. I didn't think of it that deeply. So don't get angry at me. Let me see here. Any other comments, Matt, we want to pick apart or?
Well, I think we're going to, so I think I'm as the EP, I'm actually going to end it right here.
Oh,
okay. This is from, if it pops up here, Evil Wax. Where he at? All right. So Cubs posters for Matt and Sam for their background decor. Interesting because
oh boy,
I actually have a gift for Sam.
I didn't know about any of this.
Courtesy of Brandy, one of my good friends.
Brandy. I've never met her in person. One of the nicest people. Yeah. Just from hearing about her from you.
Yeah.
Might be one of the 3 or 4 nicest people on the planet.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Works for the University of Iowa athletics department.
And that's her only problem.
And this is going to be a nice addition to your background, sir.
Oh man. Oh.
How about that?
And how about for yours?
I'm for asking.
Wait, so I have to add something to my background and you don't?
Well, I'll look something up over the next couple weeks. But
Yeah, right. No, that's very nice. And I will when I move a week from tomorrow, I will hang that up. First of all, I got to figure out where I'm going to record, but I will hang that up and I will use that. So thank you, Brandy. That is a beautiful gesture. I got to get Brandy something. She's got me tickets now and got me a poster. I owe her like $250.
Oh, geez.
Never even met her. I owe her $1,000.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, this was truly a blast to be with everybody live, pushing an hour here. And thank you so much for listening. It means so much to us to have this type of support. And, the reality is we're only 5.5 months in. So it's pretty crazy what's happened so far. And we're very appreciative and thankful. And any final thoughts, Sam?
Another outstanding job by you putting this together, as per usual. I think, we're having a great time. And, like you said, we're really kind of just babies. We're young at this. We're learning how to do this. I think we're both kind of learning to improve. There's certain things in the podcast game that we're not exactly, veterans with, that we're learning. So be patient with us, and we got a really important season ahead, and we're gonna have a great time covering it, every day with everybody. So
absolutely. Let's get a couple of these things just on the screen before we leave here. Llama Baseball does great videos on YouTube. Said that's fire. A couple other people commented on the poster as well as my computer, I think, can't keep up with the long stream.
I think we know what your Christmas gift's going to be. I'm going to write you a check for $1,200. Get yourself a computer from 2020.
I know, this is from 2016.
Jeez.
Oh boy. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Let's get us out here officially. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On's on YouTube, and smash the button on all your favorite Locked On Cubs content. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your pods. And remember, you can drop us a text at 312-834-4634. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Now make your second Locked On Sports Today. Host Peter Bukowski brings you the biggest stories from around the sports world in 20 minutes flat. Get the analysis and opinions before anyone else with our local and national experts and insiders. Locked On Sports Today, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. As always, he's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy, and this has been a live holiday party edition of Locked On Cubs.